Jordan DeMay was a 17-year-old senior at Marquette Senior High School in the Upper Peninsula of Michigan. He played varsity football. He had been crowned homecoming king the previous fall. On a Friday night in March of 2022, around 10 in the evening, he opened Instagram and accepted a follow request from an account that called itself Danny Roberts. By 4 in the morning, he was dead. The two men running the Danny Roberts account were sitting in a rented apartment in Lagos, Nigeria. They had never met him. They have since been extradited to the United States and sentenced to 17.5 years each in federal prison. But the playbook they used that night has been industrialized. In 2026, it runs on generative AI. It targets tens of thousands of American boys every week, and the FBI now classifies it as a billion-dollar criminal enterprise. The name for what happened to Jordan is financial sextortion. The mechanics are straightforward, and they have not changed much since the Lagos crews refined them in the late 2010s. A teenage boy receives a message on Instagram or Snapchat or Discord from what appears to be a girl roughly his age. She is attractive. She is forward. Within minutes, the conversation turns sexual. She sends a nude photo. She asks for one back. The moment he sends it, the persona collapses and the threat begins. Pay us within the hour, or this photo goes to every contact on your phone, to your school, to your coaches, to your mother. The amounts demanded are usually small, between $100 and $300, payable instantly through Cash App, Apple Pay, or gift cards. The psychological pressure is engineered to be unbearable for an adolescent brain. The crews call this the squeeze. They have scripts for it, copied between cells like a franchise manual. What AI did starting around 2024 was eliminate the only friction in the system. Before generative deepfakes, the crews needed actual compromising photos from the victim to make the threat credible. That meant getting the boy to send something first, which still required a few minutes of conversation, a believable photo of a real girl, and some risk that the target would lose interest or get cautious. With deepfakes, none of that is necessary. The crews now use diffusion models to generate fully fabricated nude images of the victim, pulled from any normal photo of his face scraped from his public Instagram profile. A clothed yearbook portrait, a soccer team group shot, a TikTok screenshot, any clear face image is sufficient. The fake nude is generated in under a minute, often with the victim's own bedroom or school colors visible in the background to make it look real. Then the threat lands cold with no setup, no conversation required. Pay or this goes everywhere. Look. The boy looks. The image is convincing enough that in the panic of the moment he cannot tell it is fake, and even if he could, he knows the people who see it will not be able to tell either. The FBI's Internet Crime Complaint Center received more than 34,000 reports of financial sextortion of minors in the most recent reporting year. The National Center for Missing and Exploited Children's Cyber Tipline received over 540,000 reports related to sextortion across all categories, with the largest single-year increase the organization has ever recorded. Investigators believe the true number of incidents is at least 10 times higher because most boys never tell anyone. The shame engineered into the scam is its core operating principle. The NCMEC has documented at least 36 adolescent suicides directly linked to financial sextortion in the last 3 years. The actual figure is almost certainly higher because the connection is not always discovered until a phone is examined after the fact. The geography of the perpetrators has shifted noticeably since 2023. The original wave came almost entirely from Nigeria, run by loosely organized crews known locally as Yahoo Boys, often operating from cyber cafes in Lagos and Abidjan. As the FBI and the EFCC, Nigeria's anti-fraud agency, began coordinating extraditions, the model spread. Today, the largest growth in volume is coming from the Ivory Coast, from organized cells in Moldova and Albania, and from a smaller but increasingly visible cluster operating out of the Philippines. The Eastern European crews are particularly notable because they have integrated the AI image generation step more aggressively than their West African counterparts, and they target English-speaking American boys almost exclusively. A single cell of 6 to 10 operators can run between 400 and 1,000 attempted extortions per night. The conversion rate, the percentage of contacted boys who actually send money, sits around 8%. The payout per successful squeeze averages $150. The math for the cells is excellent. The technical stack is depressingly simple. The crews buy bulk lists of public Instagram and Snapchat handles of American teenagers, sorted by school district and athletic team affiliation, on Telegram channels for between 40 and 80 cents per thousand handles. They use scraping bots to pull each target's profile photos and a few examples of his friends, then run the photos through an open-source nudification model. Most of these are wrapped versions of publicly available diffusion models that the developers explicitly forbid this use of, but which are trivially modified and shared on Telegram and certain image boards. The girl persona accounts are themselves generated. The face is a synthetic diffusion model output that has never existed. The bio, the photos at the beach, the photos with friends, even the small archive of older posts, all generated, all consistent, all designed to pass a 30-second sniff test from a 17-year-old boy at 10 on a Friday night. The whole pipeline runs on consumer hardware. A single cell can stand up the operation for under $3,000 in startup cost. What are the platforms doing? Meta announced new teen account restrictions on Instagram in 2024 and 2025, including blurring suspected nude images by default and limiting messages from non-followed accounts. The crews adapted within weeks by moving first contact to Snapchat, where messages disappear by default and the audit trail is thinner, and by using Discord servers to coordinate. Snapchat added in-app sextortion warnings and a one-tap report and block flow in early 2025. The crews adapted by pushing victims to Telegram for the actual payment demand within 90 seconds of first contact. Cash App and Apple Pay have added friction warnings on transfers from teen accounts, but the warnings are designed for adults and most teenagers simply tap through them. The FBI, the NCMEC, and Homeland Security investigations have all run public awareness campaigns. The campaigns help, but most parents have never heard the word sextortion, and most teenagers do not believe it could happen to them until it is happening. The people getting rich off this are, as with most large-scale online fraud, not the operators sitting in front of the keyboards. The Yahoo boys at the lowest tier in Lagos and Abidjan are often teenagers themselves, making perhaps $200 to $400 per week. The cells that direct them, the people who buy the target lists and run the AI pipelines and launder the payouts, are organized criminal businesses with offices, payroll, and management hierarchies. In Moldova in particular, several of these cells operate from legitimate-looking IT outsourcing offices with public-facing websites. The United States Department of Justice has filed indictments against 11 individuals in the last 18 months. The State Department has issued visa restrictions against an additional group of suspected operators in 3 countries. The Treasury Department added the Yahoo Boys network to its specially designated nationals list in 2025, which freezes a small fraction of provable assets but has not slowed the operations themselves. If you are a parent watching this and your child uses Instagram, Snapchat, or Discord, which is nearly all of them, here is what investigators say to look for. The first signal is a sudden new connection. Almost all sextortion contacts come from accounts the victim has never spoken to before, and the conversation accelerates from hello to sexual content within 10 minutes. The second signal is platform pivot. The fake girl will almost always ask to move the conversation to Snapchat within the first few exchanges, because Snapchat's disappearing messages are the operator's preferred environment. The third signal is a late-night spike of activity. Most of these contacts happen between 9 in the evening and 2 in the morning local time, when parents are not watching and adolescent judgment is at its weakest. The fourth signal, if you have access to your child's banking apps, is a sudden Cash App or Apple Pay transfer in the $100 to $300 range to a recipient your child has never paid before, often followed by a request for a second transfer 20 minutes later. The fifth signal, and the most important, is a sudden mood collapse in your teenager. A boy who seemed normal at dinner becoming withdrawn, panicked, locked in his room, refusing to put his phone down for hours, repeatedly checking the time, is a boy in active crisis. Whatever else might be going on, this is the moment to gently break in. If this is happening to your child right now, here is the script. First, stop. They cannot actually send anything to anyone in the next 10 minutes. The threat is psychological pressure designed to make a teenager believe the entire world will see the image in seconds. It will not. Tell your child to put the phone down, walk away from the device, and breathe. Second, do not pay. Paying does not stop the threat. The crews know that a target who paid once can be squeezed again, and they almost always come back for more within 48 hours, often using a different account. Every investigator and victim advocate consulted for this video said the same thing. The single most important rule is do not pay. Third, save the evidence before you block. Take screenshots of the conversation, the account profile, any images sent and received, and any payment requests. Then block the account on every platform. Fourth, report the incident to the platform where it happened using the in-app Sextortion report flow, which is faster than the general report path, to the FBI at ic3.gov, and critically to the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children's cyber tipline at cybertipline.org. NCMEC also runs a free service called Take It Down, which can help prevent the spread of intimate images of minors, real or AI-generated, across major platforms. Fifth, get your child to a person, not a website. A friend, a parent, a school counselor, a therapist. Sextortion cruise engineer isolation. The single thing that breaks the spell faster than anything else is a calm adult sitting in the same room saying, "You are going to be okay. This is not the end of your life. We will handle this together." Jordan DeMay did not have that adult in the room with him that night in March. The two men in Lagos are now in federal prison. He is still dead. If you are watching this, save the next one.